What's going on, guys? So I'm coming at y'all with a new video today. It's going to be a little how to make some sausage today. I think I'm going to make a little couple of segments about that, different how-to videos. I apologize about the inconvenience about the first video not having audio. I'm going to try to work on that, get the technical difficulties taken care of. They should be loading up fine after this. But hang on, it's going to be one heck of a ride. Looky here what we got. We got ourselves a big old Boston butt here. This is probably about 3 to 4 pounds. It's a bone in. You see the bone right there. We're gonna debone it, cut it into about 1-inch pieces, and then we're gonna season it up with our seasonings. I'll go over that a little bit further with you here in a second. But in my regular TV time, or I'm sorry, my regular recording time, I'm gonna use my little trick. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Of poultry seasoning, 1 teaspoon of black pepper, and a 1/4 teaspoon of chipotle seasoning. See if y'all can see all that. Well, this might help a little. No, it don't look all evenly mixed, but it is. So I'm going to sprinkle this in. And now to our Italian. So for our Italian mix, we have 1 teaspoon of salt. No, 1 tablespoon of salt, I'm sorry. 1 teaspoon of oregano, 1/2 teaspoon of basil, 1.5 teaspoons of fennel seed, 1 teaspoon of thyme, 1/2 teaspoon of rosemary, 1/2 teaspoon of black pepper, and I think it's 1/2 teaspoon of sugar. We're going to mix this in together. And then if it's not on the correct taste, we're going to come back and we're going to grind it up. We're going to taste it, see if there's some adjustments that need to be done. So I'll get these mixed up. Then I'm going to throw them in the fridge for about 6 hours. Then I'm going to freeze them for 2 hours to get them really good and hard. So when I put it through that grinder, it's not going to mesh up. Y'all see a little bit later what I'm talking about. So we'll catch back with you here in about 8 hours. Alright, so here we are back at the grinding. As you can see, our seasoned meat is still nice and cold. And on top of that, I got my grinder set up. It is also nice and cold. You can probably see this moisture building up on that. I've had this been sitting in my freezer for about 24 hours. I've got a coarse plate on it. We're just going to do a nice little coarse grind we're going to start off with the breakfast sausage. And then we're going to turn around and do the Italian the exact same way. I got my bowl cold here. And I've already got some cold water chilling in the freezer. So we get that nice ice cold water to mix into it. We're going to do the same thing with the Italian. I'm going to come back with you after it's ground up and show you what we're working with. Alright guys, this is what we have so far. As you can see, it ground up really nice. Having it all nice and cold does make that big difference. My blade was a little gummed up with some fat, so you may notice that in the center of the plate it won't produce as much as the outside. So we're going to do a test taste on it. We're going to take a little bit before we go any further. We're going to take a little bit, mix up a little patty, throw it on a pan I got warming up, and then we're going to stick it underneath the KitchenAid, mix it together with some water, then divvy it up, and then go on into our Italian. Furthermore, I also wanted to add it, if you wanted to take your grind to a finer stage, it's perfectly fine. Now would be a good time to do that while it's still like this. You can just feed it through the hopper into your grinder and it'll go out just fine. But before you decide to make it up into what you want, make sure to test that seasoning. So something I definitely want to show y'all is that I've been letting this sear pretty good on a medium heat, and if you can see, there's no fat rendering off of this. There's no grease, there's no nothing. So it's a fairly lean sausage. Next thing that y'all might want to, or the next time y'all might want to do this is look into, or when y'all decide to do this, look into your local butcher shop, see if they can get you like some back fat, and they'll know exactly, they should know exactly what you're talking about. Or if you happen to get it, get some bacon or even some pork belly. Try to remove the skin, remove the skin off of it, slice it up into, well, maybe not slice, but dice it up, and it should give you that good fat measurement. I was just going off of what that pork shoulder had on it. So next time I decide to make this, I'm going to have to add a little fat to it. That's something that I do recommend for y'all. That or else if you like a leaner sausage, keep it as is. Alright guys, so I had to add a little bit more salt to it. I've already started the process of mixing. Hold on. Zoom out. Again, there we go. So I had to add a little bit more salt into it. I've already started the process of mixing. Now we're going to incorporate our ice cold water to this. Just a little bit at a time. And this is just going to make it a little bit more pliable. And that should be enough. Once I get it stopped for a second, I'll show you what we're looking for. Give me just a second. So basically show you all the idea of what you're looking for after you add that water. Ooh, that's nice and cold. Is that you want that real breakfast. And you typically know what I'm talking about whenever you get it from, if I can keep the camera on focus. Typically know what I'm talking about. This right here is what you're looking for. If you crack open the package, this is what it should look like. So we're going to try another test piece again. Then we should be on good for our Italian sausage. So all that is just nothing but a rinse and repeat. So what we have here, guys, is our basic course of our Italian. Now again, with the breakfast, if you want to go a little bit finer, that's perfectly fine. And if you see those little brownish looking parts in there, I don't know if you can see it very well on the camera. That's actually just bread. All I did was take a little wheat bread, throw it in my grinder, help push out the last little meat bits. It kind of helps clean out the meat grinder a little bit. So next we're gonna test patty one of these and adjust accordingly. Alright, so our test piece went really well. Now we're just gonna put our stand mixer to a stir. And we're going to slowly incorporate that cold water again. And something I want to add, let's go back out so y'all can watch this. Something I want to add is that after you get done with this process, you can go two ways about doing this. You can either case it or just Ziploc bag it. And it's all the water. You can Ziploc bag it and store it and use it for a different time. I'm going to use some of this for dinner tonight. We're making like some spaghetti and meatballs or something like that. Do something different. So Once I get it backed up, I'll show you what I got, show what we're working with, and give you my final thoughts on this. Alright. Alright guys, so here we are at our final product. I made approximately 3 packages. I'm saving the other one over here to make some dinner with. So I got the other 5 right here. I got, you can see it well enough, 2 Italian leftover and 3 breakfast. They're gonna make roughly about, I don't know why my phone is doing that. They're gonna make roughly a little over £1 per. So I hope I've made this pretty easy to where it's not difficult. You're not intimidated making breakfast sausage or any type of other sausage. Just look up some recipes, see what you find, see what you think, and then hit me up and I will holler at y'all later.